Hey, ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls, we want to thank you for joining us on another dimension of wellness that we are working on. There are 8 dimensions, and today we are going to focus on the financial dimension and how stress can relate and have a big effect on your household when you're trying to get the finances together. So we are here today with Mr. Kevin Brooks. He is our sustainability coordinator, and we also have with me Miss Gloria Crawford with Lake City Bank. She is the financial bridge that we're using today for our community. So we got a couple of things that we're going to get off our chest, and we're just going to put it out there so that we can share this wonderful information with you guys. So let's dig in. We're going to talk about it because this is all about you. So, a couple of questions that we have, but I want to put this out on the table. We all know that it's tax season. Yes. So, how would one go about getting a financial plan together for that? How does that even connect with the community, Ms. Crawford?
Well, tax season is, of course, a time where we're wanting to fill in the gaps, but I would caution people, it's not a time necessarily to go fulfill all your wants. Mm-hmm. If we look at our tax season as a time to take care of our needs, is my car operational that's going to allow me to get to and from work? Is my housing stable so my kids can rest and function properly? Mm-hmm. Those are the things that I think we should be most focused on, and of course saving, because we all know it's going to rain. We're going to have rainy days. That's all we know. We're going to get some rain. And how best prepared we are for those rainy days are about the outcome. Like you said, being able to be self-reliant and dependent on oneself. It's all habits. It's all a matter of setting those habits.
And how do we go about, when we say setting habits, because there are so many, and I feel that one of the things that comes into play is a generational gap and the understanding of how finance operate. Because back when I was growing up, you had to be fiscally responsible, especially in a big family. There was no way. But at the same time, we didn't know what a budget was, but we knew that we had to have enough for this and that. So how do you change that? Is it a change of mindset, or how do we put that out in the community where they understand the importance of having a financial emergency fund? Especially when you're trying to rub nickels and dimes together. So when you get this, it's tax season, y'all. So when you get this money and you get this check, it seems like a lot, right? But in reality, it's really pennies on the dollar. It's just that I look at it as the government saved this little piece up for you. This is what you can have back.
Exactly. But I think Kevin probably could speak to the community part of it, and then I'll join in.
Okay.
What are you saying when it comes to that?
Well, I really have to say that this is one time in the year where a lot of families will get the largest amount of cash that they'll receive at one time during the entire year. So you have to make plans. You have to take a look at what Mrs. Crawford was saying as far as needs and then their wants. So as long as you're taking care of putting money aside for emergencies, but you're also paying down debt in a lot of cases. So this is a time of the year we usually start during November, getting a plan together for tax season. And as we do that, we actually talk about how many credit cards you have, what type of outstanding balance you have. So we will attack our credit card debt at that point in time, and you would be surprised how quickly your credit score will go up once you pay those balances down. So when you pay those balances down, it also gives you the opportunity to go moving forward with any large purchase that you're looking at. If you're looking at a house, or if you're looking at buying something, or even getting credit for, not credit, but if you're looking at getting new insurance, because insurance, different places, they look at what your credit score is. So usually at that time, your credit score is going to be the highest that it's going to be during the entire year, because you've just paid down those debts before you start increasing those credit scores again. So having a plan is the most important aspect of tax season. Paying down things and not necessarily going out and getting a bunch of items that you want, but paying down and getting things that you need. And what I find is that a lot of our families do really well with their tax check. They actually put a lot of that money in the bank and they use it monthly. So they know that they're going to be short on their bills during the course of the year. And if they're getting a sizable tax return, they will put those funds in their savings account and pull out and make payments. Some people
add to their monthly income.
Yeah, that's adding to their monthly income. And a lot of people will take advantage and pay down a car. I know I've spoken with a number of individuals recently, and they're receiving a substantial amount, and they're paying down their cars, because interest, depending on what your credit situation is, the interest from a car can be very high.
It's higher than it's been in
Absolutely.
at least 2 decades.
I can tell you, I remember one of the first nice cars that me and my husband got, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those really, really nice cars. Back then I called it a version of the hearse. I forget what they call it. It was the kind of not the G-Wagon.
The Magnum.
Yes, we had the Magnum, and we were working on our credit, but our other car had broken down, so that puts us in the crunch. So we didn't know about that. You were supposed to have 6 months saved up, or what have you. So we was like, darn. So the car lot got us, and they got us good, because we were paying $600 a month for a car payment.
Do you know that's not unusual? $600 is not unusual in the
back-
car payment. I
I
think
think-
it's insane, but
I think back then, this was like in the early 2000s or whatnot. So
okay, that's kind of
yeah.
that's kind of over there. I'm
That's
just
why
like,
I
nah,
was
that's
like,
wrong.
they got us. Oh my God, they got us. So
Yeah.
so I would say families are facing so much right now, and one of them being financial crisis. Some are fearful that they may lose their jobs. Some are fearful that they may not have anything to save. So I think that advice that you were saying, $5 here is feasible. So what would you suggest, looking at the 6 month theory differently? How would you break that down to someone who doesn't know what they're supposed to save, or how much in 6 months are they supposed to save? Is it just 6 months worth of my check, or should it be? I've heard versions of, you have to have 6 months worth of your rent saved up. You have to have 6 months worth of your car payment saved up. You have to have 6 months of all your bills and be
Well,
able
they
to
say
pay
it's
if you lose
living.
your job.
Your 6 months of living expenses. How can I live for 6 months if I don't have any money?
Mhm.
Now, that's great to have, but the poor man's savings plans are 401k.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I would tell anybody out there working, if you have access to the 401k, put your money in your 401k, at least up to where your company matches you, if they do provide a match. It's free money. And that money can be used in the case of emergencies.
Right.
So that's always a good way to save, and it's before tax dollars, so it even helps you bring more of your paycheck home. But I think young families in general right now, have to get control of these convenience fees. We are feeing ourselves to death.
What do you mean conveyancing fees?
DoorDash fees. You have to tip, you have service fees.
Y'all young folks, y'all hear that?
To an
Let
ATM
them
that
DoorDash
is not your
Please, stop it.
DoorDash fees are, and
It add up.
I will tell you,
You can rack up $50
in winter
quick
time,
in a week.
some of them cold days, I was right there with y'all. But that is the best way to see your money get eaten up. Convenience, paying bills late, and then you're paying an additional fee.
Mm-hmm.
These fees are out of your. This is out of your operating capital, so it's eating your money down. And you'd be amazed if you kept track of what those fees look like in a week, in a month. That'd be a huge deterrent toward doing that. So I would say everybody should keep track of your money. Everything. Where is your money going every week? How much are you leaving at Starbucks? How much are you leaving at fast food? We have to cook. We have to eat leftovers. We need to eat the food that we bring into our homes. It's exorbitantly expensive. Eat it. Learn to cook it.
Very true. Very true.
That's my soapbox.
Honey,
But I just hate to see someone complain to me that they don't have money when I can show them how you would have had $75 extra this week had you not DoorDashed 3 times and did da. So
Right.
we got to be honest and look
Yeah.
at these numbers.
Yeah.
These numbers add up, and they're
Because
significant.
when you go into the store, it's different than the. I found that out probably about a month ago because I really didn't pay attention. Look, I want this, I want to get it. But it's the stores are it's probably about, with some restaurants it's like $5 more expensive for the convenience versus going right across the street to the restaurant to get it.
Mhm.
I was fish grease hot. Listen,
Yeah.
honey, listen. I
The
was
convenience
upset. And I was
fees,
like,
you know,
but on
you-
the site, and I showed her, and she was like, yeah, that's what they do. I was like,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Absolutely. And I think it could be higher. The fees could be higher than $5.
yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It depends upon the restaurant that you're really wanting it for.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah. I can't even get this because I don't know how to explain to my husband that for a $15 meal I spent $25
Right.
just because I wanted them to bring it to the
Overdraft fees.
Oh,
That's another one. That's another hit.
$10.19 for a Big Mac meal that you didn't balance your account right. $35 fee on top of that. So now you just paid, $45, almost $50 for a hamburger.
Mm-hmm.
Overdraft fees. Got it. That's the easiest way to save your money.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you hiding?
Because that was shots fired.
right. I think the target was hit.
Boom. But and that's one of the largest things that we hear. So as a partner, as a wonderful partner with Favor Card, we appreciate the down homeness that you break it down, right? And that makes I think that's also a part of the financial stress that families are facing because they know that they should do something but they don't know how, which gives that because they're hearing so many different things and you just basically pretty much simplified it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they say this, but your finances may not be able to make that $500 that is expected for you to take out of your check that month. So $50 here, $10 there, $5 there. Whatever you would have spent on that DoorDash, you put that into your savings is what I'm hearing, right? Whatever you would have, whatever you have spent on the ATM, that's another hit on some
That's
places.
it. If you don't go to your
And ATM, do you really need to go to this ATM to get that $20 out because you brought your lunch, but you don't want to eat it? Hint, hint, myself.
Just today, I told myself,
you're going to the bank,
brought my lunch,
paying
but I
this
need it.
$5 fee
Yeah.
or this $3 fee because it's not your ATM,
Right.
just to go across the street to spend your money.
We have to look at it. I mean, this is a war against our families, honestly. How much money? When you think about a capitalist society, you can't be rich if there are no poor. Somebody's got to be on the bottom for somebody to be on the top.
That's right.
And they're counting on us not knowing the rules of the game. spending our money foolishly to keep us on the bottom. And we have to be there for our families. We have to take control of our budgets. We have to take control of where the money is going. And anybody who's still under the notion of thinking I got to keep up with the Joneses because my neighbor drives a fancy car, I'm gonna drive a fancy car.
People still do that?
I hope not. I don't think so.
They still do that?
I don't think
That was a big thing back in the
People don't
day.
do
That was a big
no
thing
more, do
back
they?
in the
We
day.
don't do that no more, do we?
It used to be a big
We've evolved past that. None of us are
Remember-
keeping up with the Joneses.
Remember back in the day, that was a big thing.
It was.
That was a big thing.
I think it still
I think it's
is
flashier now,
for-
though. I think it's still there, but it's just a little disguised, a little more flashier, right? Let's say, for instance, we sending our kids, and we were just talking about this. We're sending our kids in these really, really nice clothes and shoes and things of that nature, breaking our bank, and they have no buy-in.
Right.
We're just saying, if we're going to get you this, sometimes you have to not so much as bargain with your child, but teach your children what their buy-in is. Okay, so if I got $50 on these, all I got is $50 on these $125, $175 shoes. What you got? Well, I don't have anything. So the parent or the grandma ends up, funneling that cash or financing, let's say, financing that purchase with no buy-in, with shoes that's going to get messed up or whatever. But I noticed that when we used to do that, once again, with our children, they took such good, boy, them shoes stayed clean. They put them shoes back in the box, that buy-in. So that's another way of saving money and teaching the family value of budgeting and financing as well, which is something that needs to carry on. Because once they see that this is their buy-in and they put their money into it, that backtracks to the parent. You just saved yourself the extra $75 by making them fiscally responsible for their purchases.
And they'll take care of them, just like you said, because their money went into it. They'll appreciate them that much more. It's a win for everybody.
And also, I think when we probably were taught how to shop by our parents, I know my mom on Saturday mornings, we always had to go grocery shopping with her. We didn't go to one store. We didn't order stuff in. It wasn't a pickup. We went into the store, and we usually would go to at least 3 grocery stores. So we went to the grocery stores,
Couponing days.
couponing,
Where
but
she likes her
also
meat, where she likes
So, and then we were taught not to get used to one type of cereal or one type of this, like as far as brand names, whatever was on sale.
Because we might not be able to afford the next one.
Exactly. It was purchased, and that's what we ate. So I know that we had to eat everything that was served to us, and we had to learn how to cut chickens up. I think when I was 12 years old, I knew how to cut a chicken up and make cornbread and different things like that. So they taught us these different things, but now I don't think that too many people will go out and buy a whole chicken because they don't know how to cut it up. So if they don't know how to cut it up, they can't take advantage of the savings of buying the whole chicken. And I just don't think that, I think that we kind of possibly failed our younger generation in teaching them these different things. Cooking classes, because how did we learn? We were in the kitchens. We were in the kitchen with our parents.
That's right.
When they're making cornbread or whatever they're making,
That part.
we saw it and we're like, oh, you just add these different things, and after you see it long enough, you're able to do those different things. So having the kids in the kitchen, that's going to help you. Knowing that you're just not eating one piece of the chicken, you're eating an entire chicken and getting used to that. But it's people have what they want to do, they have their wants, but what you need is food. You might want just chicken wings, but there's other pieces of chicken, thighs and legs and breast and things like that. So
how I do it, I got, okay, I got some money, I put some money up, what, got you, baby. I put some money up, but what do I do from that point?
Mm-hmm. Add to it, add to it, add to it.
How do you add to it?
No matter what you make, you should be able to save something. I don't, $10 a week, $20 a paycheck. When you ask me about building habits, if we do those things consistently, the money will accumulate. The money will accumulate. Just got to be diligent, not touch it. But whatever we're making, we should always get in the habit, and what my parents told, pay yourself first. Pay yourself.
I read a book that said that, pay yourself first.
You know, you take that percentage of money, this is for me. That goes in my savings. That's my rainy day fund. That's my retirement account. That's my car breakdown. That's my roof gets a leak. And I gotta pay $500 before my deductible. When you start those habits, and you, especially when you start with a chunk of change, like with your tax return, it's fulfilling. The young people I work with, when they start to see that number rise, they start to see how interest works and it compounds and adds to that number, there's your habit.
So let's talk numbers. So I'm gonna throw out some of these checks that I be jealous of. So you get, like you said, Mr. Kevin, the largest sum that some of these people will see is about $15,000 on some of these tax checks that are coming back.
Wow.
What do you say? What would you say the percentage that they should put away for their emergency fund?
Well, as far as their emergency fund is concerned, I think that, especially for someone who's starting out, that like 6 months is like not something that they can do. So what I encourage people to start out with is to start something, $100, $200. But if you could get to $500, that could take care of a lot of emergencies that occur if something occurs with your tires. So if you have that $500, you can move forward from there. So if you've had that $500 and you've had to spend it, of course you need to go ahead and replenish that emergency fund. But the 6 months, that's a great goal. And once you get to that situation, your financial situation is going to be pretty good. But until then, don't feel if you don't have the ability to put 6 months up that you shouldn't really put any type of money towards your finances. Like Miss Gloria just said, just keep adding, accumulating, because once you get to a certain point, you want to move from the emergency fund and you want to move towards savings and investing and putting yourself in a position where you can actually get a home. Because you asked a question a few minutes ago about some of the differences between the younger people today versus younger people from our generation. And one of the things is the cost of items today. My first apartment, it was a 1-bedroom apartment, but it was $250. A 1-bedroom apartment is what, about $1,300 or so now?
$1,300 and up.
So
Ooh, that hurts.
absolutely. And even when I bought,
Salaries haven't gone up to reflect that.
have not.
No.
Have not. And when I remember buying my home, interest rates were around 7-8% at the time, but the cost of the houses were half of what they are today. So I would say
You get more house for your money.
get much more house for your money at that point in time. So I would say that the opportunity for them to find like a reasonable amount, like affordable housing, is very difficult for them at this point in time. And other items, we're talking about car payments. Car payments, if you're at $350, I'll say back in the day, I don't want to go and say how far back in the day.
We won't go there.
We won't go there. But now to get a used car, you're paying $600-700 a month that's a large amount of your income going to something that's going to depreciate and in value, and you're going to need, and just talking to Miss Gloria, coming to any of her classes that she does, she's going to talk about cars. And with the home ownership program we have, they will always say buy the home first and then the car, so that you
Affordable home.
yeah, you can buy something that's affordable as far as your home is concerned. So
When you should, if I don't know how to tell somebody you have a $15,000 tax return, how to say it. I don't know what their needs are, their immediate needs are, but I would think in terms of what am I doing in the next 2 years? What am I doing in the next 2 years? Am I going to buy a home in the next 2 years? I need to have at least 3% for down payment. $100,000 home, that's $3,000. Well, you don't get much house for $100,000 anymore. So,
Not the new ones anyway.
so you need to have at least $5,000 in savings to even go look at a house. You want to be able to know what your credit's looking like. Paying down with $15,000, if you could pay off all your credit card debt, that's money well spent, because then you get to think, not only am I saving money and interest, those payments that were going out monthly, which are not small, if you have a $5,000 credit card credit card balance, you might be making a $250 loan payment, credit card payment. All those payments are staying in your budget. They're staying in your income now. You're not paying those out in credit card debt. So it's only a positive. But I think in terms of any more purchasing, we should get out of our minds that somebody's going to finance us 100% of anything we want anymore. The way things are now, everybody's going to be looking. When the economy gets bad, banks get nervous, financiers get nervous. They want to know, how much have you saved? How much do you have? What skin in the game are you going to have? So anybody with any access to cash right now, I would say put some money away. Whatever it can to make it, until it hurts, because it will pay off in the long run.
and I would like to add the when you take a look at the difference with credit score of 730 or so will get you versus a credit score of maybe 600 or so. As you increase your credit score, and this is the one thing that our parents always taught us, pay your bills. So, but what type of bills are we paying? Are we paying bills to the furniture store or to a renter center? Who are we paying those bills to? How is it building our credit? What is it doing for us? So when you pay a bill towards a credit card and you get your utilization below 30%, it's going to be a lot easier to increase your credit score. So if you remove that debt completely and you skyrocket your score, you've just changed your life. Because now when you roll into a car dealership, you're not looking at a situation where you have to make a decision, what am I going to pay? Because a lot of cases, you're going to pay a very low interest rate, either 0% or 1.99 or 2%, 2.99%. So the higher your credit score, the less you pay. And as Ms. Gloria mentioned, that's more money in your pocket. It's more money that you are saving. And that's when people are driving around in Lamborghinis and, like these, I don't want to say $1 million cars because they're not $1 million, but very expensive vehicles. They're not paying cash. They're getting like 0% down for 4 years or so because of their credit. And getting a 730 credit score can be difficult if you're trying to dig yourself out of a hole or you're trying to correct your credit. And I believe that's what Ms. Gloria was talking about as far as habits are concerned. Because once you start saving, once you start paying yourself first, once you start paying your bills in a timely manner, then you get used to it. And you can have credit cards because at the end of the month, you're going to pay those credit cards up. You're not going to allow that debt to occur, and then all of a sudden you're at your max with your credit card. And it's important. It's very important to increase that credit score. And plus, as far as jobs are concerned, people look at your credit score. People look at your credit score as far as getting insurance and getting different things. So if you're looking at getting like some type of insurance for your home or for yourself, the higher your credit score, the less you're going to pay for those needs. Clearance items. So you'll walk into a store. If you're buying online, you're not. I mean, you can see clearance items sometimes. But if you walk into a store and you see that 70%, you can buy like canned goods or soups or whatever, clothing, 70% off. So if you're saving that amount of money because you walked into the store instead of just taking advantage of the apps. Again,
Walmart pickup, Kroger pickup.
yeah, you're not walking to the store.
Those folks aren't looking for the best groceries for you.
No, they're not.
They're not looking for the freshest fruits. They're not looking for the greenest, the reddest apples. They're giving you whatever they put their hands on if they look at it at all.
One of the things that I do when I'm buying like vegetables or really fruits, I smell them. I was taught by my mom to smell them. So if I can smell the sweetness, if I can smell a peach, then I know that peach is a good peach. It's going to taste good because I can smell the peach smell, the flavor coming out of it. If plums, all of those different things, you can smell them, and if they smell that sweet, and you can smell that, you know they're good. If you smell a peach, and you don't smell a peach, I don't buy the peach.
Or you smell a tartness.
Mm-hmm. The unsweetness,
Yeah.
right?
A lot of
The other
times,
side,
yeah, it's just like paper, like a cardboard that you're smelling, and so
Yeah, I think
you gotta
that's
go into
all-
the store.
That's all part of their plan. Give the worst groceries to the people who aren't looking at them.
Well, I can actually say, when the flip side of that, I haven't had a bad experience with them picking my stuff has been, but it also depends on where you're getting your stuff to.
right.
I've had some issues with Kroger.
So,
I mean,
so the Target is awesome. Give me my check if I'm sending people your way. I'm just saying. However, therefore, no, that's
You don't want that kind of stuff.
No, I said in the past.
In the
Oh, in the
That's
past,
No,
okay.
in the past.
In the past.
Because I don't do pickups that I'm sick. Baby, I'm sick. We weren't trying to go out nowhere, but neither one of us trying to go out nowhere. So you pay for that convenience, but as a financial coach here at Favor Card and seeing all types of clients from the double digits all the way to the single digit checks, right? What is your advice in them formulating their emergency fund?
mhm.
What do you advise your clients to start with? I know that we already have the 3 key elements, but as you're coaching, we're doing a little coaching session right here.
First thing I encourage people to do is all of your financial information, keep it in a place that you can get to it. So there are different contracts that you might sign, and you sign this contract and you have a 2-year, let's say that you have a car and they're saying you have this amount of time as far as a warranty. And then when you go in, they're like, oh no, it's this amount of time. So you have to have that paper so that you can show them, no, it says 36 months, 24 months, 12 months, whatever. So you have the proof. So I would say always have that information, and also it shows your APR, your what interest rate that you're paying. So if you see any differences, you can always bring that back up and say, hey, this is what I was told, but this is what you're doing now. So the first thing to do is make sure that all of your paperwork is a place that is accessible and that you know where it is and it's safe. So I would say that's the first thing. Second thing, as far as like just moving to a different level, is again, as you're probably not going to start with an emergency fund. You're not going to have it. So you're going to have to actually put yourself in a position where you're getting your budget, your spending under control, and that takes a lot of determination for you to say, well, I'm not going to buy this. I'm going to buy that instead because it's not as expensive. We're giving the example of potato chips versus buying a steak. When you go in and you buy potato chips, there might be a 12-ounce bag for $4.99 or something along those lines. And for almost that same amount of money, you can buy a hamburger or some other items that are better for the body anyway. So you want to take a look at what your needs are, but what type of substitutions can you use? We're not asking you to eliminate something that you enjoy. You might really enjoy a certain type of orange juice or lemonade, but go to some of the stores and find out what their house brands are. Taste them, buy them, and things that you like that you feel are equal to or almost equal to what you've been using, go ahead and start buying those items so that you can cut your costs. Cutting costs, and realizing how much is coming in. You have to know what your budget is. So that's one thing. And then you start really building that emergency fund 1 week, 1 month at a time. Baby steps. When they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. One bite at a time. And what you do is you put dollars aside when you can, as you were saying.
And it's just like Kevin was saying, but it's a whole list of things you can do. It's just being smarter with your money. I have to buy groceries. How do I buy groceries for the least amount of money possible? I have to have my utilities. Are we lighting rooms that we're not in? It's nice outside. Turn the heat off. Open the window.
Right.
So we just have to think in terms of what can I do? How do I make my money go as far as I can? I can shop at Aldi. I can get some of my things at Kroger, but some of the things, the same thing.
So going back to what we used to do, couponing, right? You look up those deals. Even online, they still have online couponing.
Sure
Kroger
do.
has the
Digital coupons.
digital coupons, things of that nature. And one of the things, Miss Gloria, that you brought up, it actually leads us to go ahead and wrap up this session, but it also leads us to our next session, which is about formulating a plan. Everybody wants to floss, but is it flossing costing you? Right? So, making those smart plans, making smart goals will lead us into our next podcast. And I want to thank you, Mr. Kevin.
Absolutely.
And I especially also want to thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Having the time to put in your schedule for this podcast is very much appreciated. Thank you guys for us wrapping up on today's podcast. Hope you join us for our next one, because we really want to know, is flossing costing you?